Sean!
Corey, what are you doing?
Shoving everyone down the elevator shaft. Guess who's next? Rachel!
Hello and welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey, chapter 242. It is the first day of the week, aka the Kamehameha workout. I am feeling pretty good. I'm very excited and very happy. But anyways, to the main subject matter for today, which is a continuation of our series divulging into dreams, because I had a very memorable dream this weekend, but also because of something that has been coming up recently in certain dreams. So I wanted to talk a little bit about one aspect of them, and that is other people in your dreams. So in this one, it's not going to be it's going to be particularly about people you know in your personal life that happen to be in your dream, because they are a element to it that is on its own versus a dream, somebody that is unknown. The unknown is a completely different thing and person, and we will discuss that because the unknown people are different. So I will talk about known people that you have normal day-to-day interactions with that end up showing up into dreams and things like that. And I'll also probably discuss a little bit about my dream, as well as maybe certain meanings to certain things and what those people can and cannot represent and those things like that. And just to go into the background a little bit, because it's been a while since I've done one of these dream videos, so I wanted to just get into this entire section again. I will probably end up going back and doing probably more frequently this year. I don't know how long this series is going to be, because it could be indefinite, honestly, because of how much I have in sight for when it comes to dreams and all of the knowledge I have. Most of this now will just be coming down to dream analysis and things that you can do on your own to check out dreams and see what they might have meant for you back in the day, now, in the future, whenever, and use some of these elements to really start analyzing your own dreams and trying to figure out what they mean to you, because obviously you can't really tell me regardless, but also they're very intimate to you, and that will be a detail that we will go into in another future episode. But for now, in this episode, we will just be discussing people you know that you see in your dreams, and we'll be discussing that when we get to Mother Base.
Alright, so I started this day off with dips, which are pretty good. But anyway, back to the main subject matter here. People you know in dreams. So the main reason why I wanted to discuss this was because I had a dream when this video happened. Now it's been a little bit, but I do remember the major pieces of this dream, which was me in a giant old school car. Basically, think of a 1950s Cadillac style car, but it was just me and my coworker who was sitting next to me on my right, and we were just talking. And I remember she looked at me and was like, "Hey, I think you're too agreeable." And I was like, "What?" And then she was like, "Yeah, you agree too much. You aren't very argumentative with anybody that is around." And I was like, "What?" This made no sense to me. So then we just started talking about it, but then that was it. That was like the rest of the dream. I don't remember. It just disappeared. But that was the major point. And I think by basing it off of that, the main reason why I wanted to start here when it comes to dream analyzation is because most of the time when you have another person that you know in a dream, they are usually a cipher for how people might perceive you from the outside looking in, or how you perceive them perceiving you, if that makes any sense. It's almost like a weird reflection. It's a very strange idea if you think about it, but also if you think about it, it makes kind of sense, because realistically, your perception of how others perceive you is in your dreams. So that's why I wanted to talk about other people, because most of the time people that you know are basically mirrors in a way. Not necessarily internal mirrors, but more so external mirrors as to how you would think of yourself, how others think of you seeing you, if that makes any sense. I know it's a little complicated, but I think once you grasp that idea, or at least think back to some dreams where you had other people that you knew around you maybe talk to you about something, and then maybe that's how you see how you think others see you as. And it's something that I feel like a lot of people will misinterpret a lot of the time because they'll think it's deeper than that. But realistically, that's all it really is when it comes to other people. They will say something and you will probably they'll tell you something of how you see yourself with them, or how you think they see you, and in this case for me, I was too agreeable. I guess I was too, in my mind, I think I'm not confrontational enough, but that is for a different episode, for a different day, because I actually make an entire episode about that. But for this, in this context, it's usually a person that that is the mirror of this. This is not to apply to a person you don't know. If you don't know them, that is an entirely different symbol in its entirety, and that will be an episode later. I actually have already filmed it. I haven't made it yet, but it is going to be something. It is also not necessarily a reflection of you, which will be the next episode where, well, we'll get there when we get there. The reason why these people are usually talking to you about this is because it helps derive a familiarity with the entire subject matter. So you'll notice this, and I'll touch upon it briefly, but when it's people that you don't know, it's more of an internalization of things, but I don't want to get into that. When it comes to people that you do know, it's more of an externalization of how your perception is of the outside world looking in. It's kind of like I said before, it's the mirror effect, but with using other people to try to get you to think about something. But this is just an example. There are probably others that I could probably think of in a dream and all those other things. Also, the small details, like we're in a car, nothing major per se, because I've never been in a car like that anyway. But certain things like that are symbolisms like that, sometimes can be something. But that's a whole other episode as well, which we will probably get into eventually, once I can find one that actually has more in-depth meaning. But the question really was what stuck out to me mostly, was that why would she say this to me? And then that's where you kind of derive the meaning from certain things that people say in these dreams, where you have to listen to them and then figure out, where does this apply to me and why does this apply to me? As well, I believe that the person who's saying the message might have a impact on the messaging itself, but that isn't necessarily as important, because realistically they are just a mirror of the outside, so it's not as pertinent, but it can depend on the messaging of what is being said. So you have to figure that part out on your own. So if it's someone, like for me, it was my coworker, this is somebody that's outside of the realm of close-knit family. So it's not somebody that would be like my father, who's a figure, or a specific type of figure in my life. My wife is another one that would be ingrained somewhere else. But this person is more of a avatar for the outside world. And it's not even just them. It could be anybody, but it also truly depends on your relationship with them, because it could be not as meaningful as you would think, but it also depends on the messaging that they are putting out there. So you're going to have to figure that one out on your own, because really it just depends on who they are, where they are to you, and if whatever they say means anything to you. But at the same time, if it's somebody it doesn't necessarily matter per se, because it's maybe goes beyond who they are in your life, and more so the messaging behind it.
And we're back. Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercises not filmed. None. Exercises skipped. Also none. Got everything in, thankfully. But anyways, back to the main subject matter at hand. Dreams, part 3. Other people in your dreams. Now, it's a weird place to start there, I know, because when looking at dreams, you want to start with yourself. But there is a lot to say about yourself, because it is divided in multiple chunks. So I wanted to start with when you see other people, because I think that other people that you know, because I feel like that is easy enough of a starter subject matter because you can kind of understand it generally speaking. It's not necessarily that too far off. But usually when you start there, there's like the baseline for when you want to analyze things, because from there afterwards you can start really looking at how everything else plays with each other, if that makes any sense. It's like the first stepping stone, but not necessarily the ultimate stepping stone, but the one that you can look at objectively and relatively easily, because most of the time the other person that you know will say something that should spark something in your mind, really. So that is the thing that you need to understand, is that little bit of of them being there might help you push you into the right directions, but there are other elements to the dream that might override that, intercept that, make that null and void, or just a person. It's just there. They're just there for eye candy, and it all just depends. But I feel like you will understand that in your own dreams. But sometimes they are the cornerstone of the dream, the entire dependent of the message that is trying to get across from the dream, basically. So that's why I wanted to start there. I'll probably do one more episode tomorrow, maybe two, in this series for the other side of it. I don't have a dream necessarily that I can say is this example of it, but I think that this was like a good example of this one theory. Give me a second. This is a good example of this one theory happening within itself. So I wanted to just put that out there and leave that alone, and then thus I could start the ball rolling on a couple of other things, because like I said, there's so many elements to this that there's probably be a gajillion amount of, there's going to be a crap ton of these episodes. So I wanted to start with that one first, just because I had a perfect example for it. But with that being said, tell me what you think in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this one. This one was more of a random one, but I wanted to continue this series. It's something on my mind. I also have a bunch of other shit that I have to think about, so I do have video ideas till the end of time. But anyways, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video with anybody who may or may not like it. Please leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. If you have a dream that you may think of something now looking back at, maybe, hey, this person was trying to tell me something that I should have listened to, or hey, this person was telling me something that I should have known the entire time, or something that made me think about something, or the other person that you know is telling you something, or somebody that from a past that comes out of nowhere to be in your dream, and you're like, what the hell does this mean? Tell me about it in the comments below. I'd love to thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. I will see you in the next one. Keep it heavy. Stay safe out there. Stay warm. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.